Years ago, when I started raising foals, I had a problem. It was a dangerous one for me and for the foals, and it happened every day like clockwork. This little hack that I'm going to share with you today worked so well that it ended up having quite a few benefits other than just keeping me and the foals safe. If you have horses, you already know about herd dynamic, especially around foods. A gyrating mass of body weighing anywhere from 1,000 to 1,300 pounds as they move around you to get to their feed, it's not a good place for a human to be. Depending on what horses were in the mix, there was some chasing, some kicking, some biting, and while it was not directed at me per se, you can see how it could quickly become quite dangerous. I started carrying a stick with a flag to keep myself safe at feeding time, and it worked well, but it didn't solve the other issues. I'm a small breeder. I breed between 2 and 4 foals a year, and my horses don't come into the barn. They live out 24/7, but they do come in for daily supplement and minerals, especially when they are pregnant or that they have foals at foot. Despite trying to space the feeding station wide apart, foals could still get caught in the crossfires between the mares. Food got spilled and trampled and wasted. The dominant mare ate more than their shares, disrupted the others. It was just a mess. I don't like messes. I like things orderly and quiet. There were, however, other issues that I needed to find a solution to other than just at feeding time. You see, my horses are very friendly and they all want to be the center of attention, and that can cause a problem when you're trying to work with just one of them or take one at a pasture for a bit. They crowd the gate, they push each other. I feel very small in those situations. Best solution for me was the simplest little thing. I built a buffer paddock of sort by my main gate. It's a small enclosure where a mare and foal could comfortably fit right in between the paddock and the gate. You don't want it so small that the horse would feel trapped or could barely turn around, but not so big that a slightly worried horse could pick up steam. Mine are about 14 by 20 feet, maybe a little bit more. I used 3 to 4 panels. I recommend the medium or the heavy duty ones. 1 gate, 2 lengths of chain, about 4 feet long, and a connector for the chains, like the openable link ones, but you could use a carabiner, I suppose. I simply chain the panels to the existing post on either side of my main gate. Sometime if there's no good place to chain the panel, I'll simply keep one at 90 degrees to the other for some stability, like I did with this one here. One could make it permanent with posts and planks, I suppose, but the side would need to be high enough. While it's almost impossible to contain a terrified horse that wants out, a slightly antsy one can be discouraged by the height of a fence, especially a foal. Besides, I like the flexibility of the panels. I can take them in, I can take them out. Now, let's look at the crazy number of ways this little hack turned out to be useful. It's now an integral part of how I handle my horses, and I've gotten so many compliments on its simplicity, its usefulness, from other small breeders like me, as well as vets and farriers. First of all, like I said, I use it as a feeding station. I'm usually alone doing chores, so I need to stay safe while I distribute the feed, so I do it from the safety of this little pen. I use buckets that I simply hang on panels, and I lay them out on the outside of the pens while staying safely inside. If there's an argument between horses out there, I can simply wait for things to calm down before putting the buckets. If you have a limited fence line, this can really help as it increases the length you can work on and save you quite a few steps. I like to bring the alpha mare inside the pen first because she will be the one to move the other ones out of the way, out of their bucket, and create trouble. I can keep her in the pen, and that way everyone else eats in peace. As foals grow, they require different feed than what they can steal from their mother's bucket. But how can you make sure they're eating the right amount? At about 4 months of age, when they get their own buckets, you guessed it, once more, the little pen proved to be very useful for this. I start by feeding them just across the panel from their dam, and pretty soon they can come in and eat on their own. Since they usually eat much slower than the rest of the adults, I can leave them in the pen and let them eat in peace. That way, they can get their feed and minerals, and the mares don't eat more than they should. There is no separation anxiety since they can see each other. I usually put a bit of hay just a little bit away from the pen so that the mares can quietly eat some hay while the babies are finishing their buckets. Sometime with a busy schedule, it can be hard to find the time to work with the babies, but I use this opportunity when they are eating their bucket to spend time with them. I pick up their feet, I brush them, might just hang around. I also just put the halter on to lead them out, so it's a simple everyday handling they need at that age. It makes a big difference, and my clients are always impressed by how well handled my babies are. They certainly learn how to handle getting in and out of gates. Another way it can be a lifesaver is if you need to take a mare and foal pair out of the pasture. Like many of you, I suspect I mostly handle the horses by myself, and sometimes I need to bring a mare and a foal out of the pasture to do an ultrasound on the mare, and in that case, it can be hard to hold the mare, make sure the foal is following, open and close the gates without any other horse sneaking by. I find that having that little pen allow me to put the mare and the foal in there, then I have time to organize the halters, the lead shank, and then I can just go out and leave the gate open behind me and go do the ultrasound and come back. And it's just so much easier that way when you don't have an extra pair of hands to open and close the gates for you. It's really also the ideal area to get to know their foal when they're really, really young. While their mother eat their bucket, you can just hang around, fuss on the mare. They have the time to get used to your presence, and it's just a really nice, easy way to stay close to the foal and yet have control of where it goes. You can see how I proceed from there and how I use this little pen and how I can make even the shyest foal come to trust me in this video. If you're interested in that part of it, why don't you go take a look at this video next.